Hello, I'm Ben.
And my name is Josh.
And welcome back to FPL Graduates.
So, in today's video, we're going to be doing a weekend roundup of all the fixtures in the Premier League so far.
Yeah, let's get straight into it. We'll start off with the first game of the day, and that was Arsenal away to Fulham.
Yeah, Arsenal convincing 3-0 winning away from home against Fulham. Saw some great goals in that fixture.
Yeah, Aubameyang was looking on fire. He scored a goal, Gabriel scored a goal, and William got 3 assists.
Yeah, some really big returns, and it was quite surprising to see Arsenal play that well defensively as well.
Yeah, they looked incredibly solid at the back. They looked confident. Gabriel looks like a decent signing, and they look good on the attack as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think one thing you need to remember is that it was Fulham and they didn't really create anything whatsoever, so maybe bear in mind before you start transferring them in.
Yeah, realistically they are probably going to be the worst defence that Arsenal will come up against this season.
Yeah.
And of course, those attacking returns, you've got to be wary that players such as William and Pepe are going to be rotated this year.
Yeah. Even like Saka, who we thought was going to start or at least get some minutes, he didn't even play at all. So it's really hard to decide who, other than Aubameyang, is actually going to be playing in that team.
Yeah, I think it's probably safe to say that Aubameyang will be playing every week and he will be scoring lots of points.
Yeah. So moving on to the next game, it was Crystal Palace taking on Southampton. Crystal Palace won 1-0.
Yeah, interesting result really, because Crystal Palace for the majority of the game were on the back foot, defending really quite well. And Southampton did look dangerous on the attack.
Yeah, Southampton played quite well in the second half especially, but a lot of people with the Southampton double up in defence, that bit them in the arse to be fair.
Yeah, it did bite me in the butt because I had McCarthy in goal, so it's not ideal, but both teams looked relatively solid defensively, so good options at the back. And also, there's a couple of options maybe up top for Southampton which you should consider.
Yeah, Shea Adams looked like their brightest spark. I just want to have a quick mention about Gator. He got 10 points this week, got the 3 bonus points for keeping the win for Crystal Palace. So he could be a good option to get in at £5 million.
Yeah, it was one of the best goalkeeping displays I have seen in a very long time. He was saving everything, looked really confident, really sharp. So maybe that could be an option for set and forget. The next game is the game of the weekend. Liverpool beating Leeds 4-3.
Yeah, the game was 3-3 at half time, so amazing goals in this game. And what was great is that our man, our captain, Mo Salah, scoring a hat-trick, getting us that 40-point haul. If you want captain tips, just come to this channel because we've got it in the bag.
Mate, I told you from the beginning, Salah always scores opening weekend. He doesn't fail to do so. He's now scored in like 4 of the opening days of the season in the Premier League. Bang in form, and if you don't have him, you should be worried.
Definitely, he just always loves a goal at home. And there's some other key performers as well, especially for Leeds, who shocks a few, I think, and then no one, I don't think, thought they'd score 3 goals. Patrick Bamford scored after taking it past Van Dijk as well. It looked really good. I think a lot of people transfer Bamford in.
I mean, it's a big risk because the only reason Rodrigo didn't play is because he hasn't spent enough time with the squad to get up to match fitness. So we could see over the next 2 or 3 weeks Bamford's minutes being cut shorter and shorter and Rodrigo playing a bigger part in the team.
Yeah, but he's a good option definitely at 5.5, a lot cheaper than like your Mitrovic, your Shea Adams, even your Callum Wilson, who we'll come on to in a minute. Defensively, for both teams?
Not great defensively. Obviously, you're going to have to put one of the Liverpool defenders in, whether that be Trent, Robertson, Van Dijk, because as we saw, Van Dijk got a return, he scored that header.
Yeah.
Alexander-Arnold didn't have a great game, let's be honest, and Robertson did return as well.
Yeah, he got the assist for a cross. So it's just one of those, like, it's a flip of a coin really. You know Trent will return, that's why I wasn't too bothered.
Yeah, you just got to be patient with the Liverpool defensive assets because it's guaranteed assists, guaranteed points. Don't hastily get him out of your team. You need to keep him in because he will return.
Yeah, everyone just needs to calm down. It'll be fine next week. Don't worry. So the final Saturday game was at 8 o'clock and it was West Ham versus Newcastle. Newcastle coming away as 2-0 victors. Yeah,
it's very interesting to see Callum Wilson returning. And another option which may have been overlooked by many people, Jeff Hendrick. He got a goal and assist, I believe, and looks relatively sharp.
Yeah, I think he got 14 or 15 point haul, which is crazy from a £5 million midfielder when everyone's got St Maximin. Maybe people need to start looking around that Newcastle team instead of going for that St Maximin option.
Although St Maximin is a good option to have, there's no denying it for that price. He doesn't get as many returns and will not be getting as many returns as many people making out to be. You think about it, last season he played a full year, didn't even get 10 goals and assists.
Yeah, he's definitely a player that you'd like to watch and not maybe an FPL asset that you need to own. So I'd be wary about that and maybe shop around in that Newcastle midfield, because I feel like there's probably 2 or 3 other players, not necessarily Jeff Hendrick, but who will get more returns than he will.
Yeah, let's talk about West Ham. They were pretty terrible, to be honest, weren't they?
Yeah, if things are going to keep on how they're going, I don't see it going very well. They're away to Arsenal next week. I think you need to captain Aubameyang. Yeah, that's a bit of it, really.
Yeah, I mean they hit the crossbar on the post like a couple of times, but if you're gonna steer clear of any team at the start of the season, it's going to be West Ham. Horrible fixtures, disarray at the club. No one's happy. They want the owners out, and obviously translated onto the pitch as we saw.
So moving on to Sunday now, we have the early kick-off. It was Leicester versus West Brom at the Hawthorns, and we saw Leicester take away a 3-0 win over the Baggies.
Yeah, I thought it was quite harsh on West Brom that they lost by that scoreline.
Yeah.
They looked good in the first half, it has to be said. They looked quite solid, but obviously, like I said from the beginning, West Brom are going to concede. That's why I've said from the start, don't go near their defensive assets. Leicester though, look good, Vardy again.
They didn't look bad. I wouldn't say they looked great. I think 3-0 did really help, overshadow some of the poor performances pretty much throughout some of the team. But Constagne looked really, really good. The new signing at 5.5 million. I think he could definitely be an option if Leicester have a good run of fixtures. Jamie Vardy scored 2 penalties, but the underlying stats tell you such a different story. He had literally a 0 XG, which is expected goals other than penalties. So, a goalkeeper usually gets 0 XG.
Yeah, it's very wary. You should, as a striker, you should at least be getting chances. And if he's not getting chances, then what is happening to that striker? We know he's getting on a bit. Is it going to be affecting him in the weeks to come?
Yeah.
A lot of people will probably jump on that Vardy bandwagon after seeing the 2 goal scores, but personally, I wouldn't be so sure it's a great idea.
Yeah, I'd stay clear. Vardy is well known for scoring against West Brom anyway, so he loves that. I think if you were going to have him, you would have to have him from the week previous, because that was probably the best fixture that you'll get Vardy in probably for the season, unless I can't really see him scoring a hat trick against anyone unless he faces West Brom again, which he obviously will. So yeah, stay clear of Vardy in my opinion. I think you need to wait for Leicester to get some of their injured players back, like Maddison and Pereira, and then you'll see his XG build up and he'll get more chances and hopefully more goals.
Yeah, Leicester tend to be a slowly starting team. We saw around Christmas time they really started picking up momentum, beating Southampton 9-1. I think it's going to be a similar sort of story this season, where they could get better as the season goes on, but for now it's not looking great in terms of attacking options, but defensively they do look relatively solid.
Yeah, good players in defence. So moving on to Spurs versus Everton. This was my biggest shock of the weekend. I just didn't think what happened was going to happen before the game whatsoever.
Yeah, it is incredibly surprising how awful Spurs were to begin with. Didn't create anything, defensively looked really shaky, but what surprised me even more is how good Everton looks.
Yeah, their midfield, all of their new signings have gelled together immediately and with a huge impact. The best player for me was definitely Allen. He has the most tackles in the Serie A for the past 3 seasons, and you can clearly see why. Playing that almost Kante-esque role, he absolutely shored up that Everton defence and made me think, actually, I might need an Everton defender.
Yeah, I might need an Everton defender or an Everton forward, because obviously Calvert-Lewin scored a really tasty header. Looks bang in form, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think probably your best option, I know he's expensive, but Lucas Digne is going to score a lot of points if this Everton team play the way they did against Spurs. He's in the defence, you're getting clean sheets, and he's on all the set pieces like you saw against Spurs. An unbelievable cross for that Calvert-Lewin goal, literally just made the goal.
Yeah, well, we saw the stats of what they're like against top 6 teams. They haven't won against a top 6 team in 6 years. So to get one now in that convincing fashion is really interesting. I think Ancelotti has got something really good going on.
Definitely, yeah.
So it's just a case of bringing those Everton assets in.
Yeah, slowly but surely. I think their fixtures aren't too bad. I think they have a couple of difficult ones, but they're definitely not the worst. So maybe after you get your Manchester assets in, that's probably I think personally, if they play the way they did against Spurs next weekend, that is definitely going to be the team that I'm jumping on.
So, moving on to the Monday night games, we've got
Sheffield United versus Wolves as the earlier kick-off. I think it's around 6, and then we've got Chelsea versus Brighton as the late one. Big games.
Yeah, so if you want to see what our thoughts are after the game, go and check out FPL Don's video. We're going to leave a link in the description, and we're going to have a little chat to him about our reaction to those games on Monday night.
Yeah, we have a couple of assets from each team, so you'll be able to see how they did, what our overall points are, etc. So it'll be interesting. We are actually doing pretty well this week.
Yeah, I think I'm on about 64 points currently with 3 players to play, so I'm quite satisfied with that so far. I just need to build it on next week.
Yeah, 100%. So that is all for today's video. If you did enjoy, drop a like and comment, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here. I've been Josh.
I've been Ben.
And we'll catch you
later.